Test, test, test. Is this thing on?
I don't know. Well,
Busy week. Busy week.
it has been a really busy week. Just now. Mm-mm. So,
We'll give a few minutes to people logify. I need to set up the tripod.
you think so?
I mean, not right now, but every little bump, it's moving the camera.
Oh.
Oops.
Oh, wow. I don't think it's that big of a deal. So, you sleep well?
I did.
Good.
I slept very well.
Good.
So much happening this morning.
Hmm?
So much happening this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What is that? Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, Susan. How are you? Hello, Crystal.
Good morning, everybody. I'm a little slow this morning. So,
I'm not going to be snarky with that. I promise.
of course not.
I won't say, "Oh, just this morning."
So, well, did y'all have a good week? It's been a weird week.
Yes, Susan, you are odd. I think she had a typo.
So, did y'all have a good week? Was it a weird week for y'all?
It was a weird week for us.
It really was.
Mercy.
Yeah.
Not a bad week, just a weird one.
Yeah, I think I worked every day. I worked late every day, I think.
But just the unusualness of this whole past week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had a lot going on. What did we do Wednesday? What was Wednesday? Oh, Lexi had taekwondo.
Mm-hmm.
Our youngest had taekwondo quite a bit this week. She's been
she's training for her black belt.
Yeah.
And she'll test in December, but it also requires a lot of class credits and yeah, weird. Yeah, so a lot of class credits, but that also means doubling up some days, taking 2 days. And like this morning, there's another testing at her school. She's not testing, but if she shows up last night and then this afternoon to help, she gets 4 class credits towards that. And this could also be, put a pin in that. That'll be a nice little segue for talking about SMART goals too.
Right. And that also helped. That's a great thing that we're doing the SMART goals, because her SMART goal is to get the black belt. But in order to do the SMART goal, she has to do all these things. And so we're trying to time it out correctly, because with both of us working full time, it becomes a little harder, I think.
So. A little bit, especially when the school's 40 minutes away.
The taekwondo, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
when you said school,
her school is like a mile away.
Yeah, it's really close to home.
So the office is about 45 minutes away. So I leave there, drive 45 minutes here to a mile away from our house, pick her up. Thank goodness she's done with school for the year. She's got the summer off. Pick her up, swing by, let the dog out, let her pee, let the dog pee, get her uniform and her sparring gear, turn around in less than 10 minutes, go back 40 minutes to this school. So yeah, it's a little crazy.
Yeah, I think we spend just for our jobs alone, I know, and right now because I'm taking a class to put it like another feather in my cap for work. So I'm driving 10 hours just for work alone. He's working,
That's a feather in your cap.
and he's driving 10 hours. Well,
Who knows?
yeah,
I've stopped
more
adding
than
it
10
up.
hours. So we're doing 20 hours of driving.
It's a little depressing.
It's a lot.
It is a lot of driving, but that's not why we're here.
No. Sorry, I'm still trying to wake up. I've been up since 8:30, or I was up before that, but it's just been a slow moving. I think it's because I'm so fast paced every day. I don't know if y'all feel that way. Fast paced all the time, and then when you finally have a day where you don't have to be so fast paced, you're like slowing it down.
Fast paced, not fasting. That's different.
Yes.
Better struggle to get some squats. Yeah, it's you got to make some time,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things we've talked about is some of the things you have to just write it down and block the time out. And that includes self-care. You have to block the time out for some me time, because otherwise you won't get it. You'll be pulled in so many different directions. That in and of itself could be a SMART goal. That could be a goal that you set for yourself to slowly over time build that up.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just get right into it. I mean, this will be on a replay too. But what is a SMART goal, Julie?
Specific, measurable,
Achievable. She can't read my writing.
achievable,
Relevant and time bound. So what does it mean to be specific? I actually, I have clients outside of the PhD community. And I had an onboarding call with a gentleman earlier this week, and he's told me a few times, I just want to be in the best shape of my life. I want to have no stress and just be in good shape. And I'm having to really push to have him define, what does that actually mean? The best shape of my life. Explain that to me, sir. And slowly we're chipping away at it. He's starting to understand that if you have a vague goal, then you're going to have vague or no action steps to get to it. The example, if you wanted to get from wherever you are to, say, Los Angeles, why would you want to go to Los Angeles? I don't know, but let's say that you did. You can't just say, well, I just want to be in Los Angeles. Well, where are you starting from? What route are you going to take to get there? How long do you anticipate it? What steps along the way? Gas stops, rest stops, overnight stays. How will you know when you get there? Los Angeles is a very big place. How do you know when you've arrived at Los Angeles at your goal? So you've got to be specific and know what it is you're trying to accomplish specifically. So rather than I just want to get in good shape, that is a large, broad spectrum goal. Now within that, let's get some sub goals in there, and those are the ones that you can specify. Because if you get all of the sub goals, that big goal of being in the best shape of your life will by default occur. Much like training for a black belt. How many belts does she have to go through to achieve her black belt?
Is it 10?
I think so. I'd have to really look it up.
I think it is 10. I think. I can't remember. I just remember she started as white, yellow, then white, green.
No, then yellow, green.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, it just goes up the steps. I think it's
10. But you can't. So I want to be a black belt, and if that's your goal, it's incomplete, because you can't get here without going through these steps. You've got to get these. Well, what does it take to be a white belt? Okay, get started. What does it take to be the next tier, which is a white yellow in Taekwondo? Well, there's certain markers that you have to reach, certain what they call forms and one steps. And if you're familiar at all with karate, it's like a kata is a form, and it's very specific movements you have to do in a specific order, in a specific way, and with precision. So that means you have to start there and break that down. And there's going to be action steps along with that too. So let's make a SMART goal for moving up the ladder in Taekwondo. So I want to be a black belt. When is that? Realistically, and it's a range, 3 to 5 years is doable for most adolescents and adults. She started when she was 3, so it's a little different. So let's be specific.
So, Crystal, you've been doing well with your routine. Oh, you've been taking care of your 90-year-old mother-in-law. That's a lot
That
of
is a lot.
work. That's a lot. That's hard. And Susan, you said you're retired, so you have no goals. You used to do SMART goals, then even SMARTy goals. Why for yes? I like that. I like that.
Yes. And so you have to be specific. So let's take that example. I want to be, without purpose. Yeah, yeah. You've got to have a reason to get out of bed in the morning, and you can't just say, "I just want to be able to get out of bed in the morning." It has to be, "I'm going to accomplish this today by doing this, this, and this by this time." Specific. I want to be a white yellow belt by the next testing cycle in 3 months. So okay, 3 months. So we're kind of going out of order on purpose because SMART makes for a nice acronym. But I want to be a white yellow belt in Taekwondo by the next testing in 3 months in August. It's got to be measurable. So how do you measure that? Well, there's also some steps along the way where you get checked off on this skill, this form, that one step, or your overall attentiveness, your actions and behavior on the mat, all these things that the coach and the teacher will check off in that process. It has to be achievable. So you can't say, I want to be a white yellow belt by next weekend. Well, that's unrealistic. It's not achievable. Is it relevant? Yes, because this goal is also in relation to other goals too.
Right.
And to say I want to be at this level just for the sake of doing it, again, that's kind of like you said, no purpose. Why are you doing this? So it's got to relate. I want to be a white yellow belt by the next testing cycle. So therefore, I'm going to make sure I get coffee at Dunkin's this week instead of Starbucks. It's not relevant. It makes no sense. It's got to be in line with that. Much like, I want to have a daily movement routine, and I want to be able to. So let's build it there too. I want to be able to do 20 air squats every day by the next 2 weeks. I want to work up to that. Is that achievable for you? That depends. You have to answer that, or if you're working with a coach. So is it achievable? Let's say that it is. Let's say you're in decent shape, but you're at 10 to 12 air squats every morning, and you want to work up to 20. So in the next 2 weeks, I want to be up to 20. So it's measurable because we can count. It's achievable because you're at that fitness level where it's just enough. You can push yourself. Is it relevant? Is doing some squats every morning or every evening, is that relevant to your overall health goal? Again, does it matter if you buy ribeye or chuck eye if your goal is squats? It's tangentially, it's on the peripheral, yeah, but specific to your goal, probably not. And it is specific and it's time bound. 2 weeks. I want to be here. So again, that's one way that you can build your goal, and start with something very specific, then go to the time, and then then can I do that by this time? Is that, number one, relevant? Do they relate to each other? Does it relate to where I'm going in my overall life and goals? Is it achievable? Is that realistic? Can I really do that? Or do I need to simply, and there's no shame in saying, I want to be here. I want to lose 20 pounds in the next 3 weeks. Join the club. Is that realistic? I guess anything could be done. If you have a chainsaw and you're not fond of having both of your legs, sure, we can lose 20 pounds in a few minutes. But as far as doing it that way, it's not really realistic to say I want to lose 20 pounds in the next 2 weeks. Katie, bar the door. It doesn't matter. That's not really realistic for most people. So you've got to put that in relation to your overall health. If you're working with somebody now into that plan, so this is where coaching does help on an individual basis. Because it's one thing to talk to masses of people, but when she has a specific goal, I need to know what her specific situation is. What's her past history of in the weight loss space, in her nutrition space, is she on any medications, so on and so on. And you have to know that all those details, because they help make it relevant. I'm pointing right off camera. You can't see that. That makes it relevant to you. Yeah, that doesn't mean that someone else's goals are, immaterial, that you can't learn anything from them. But it means maybe later, or maybe adjust it and fit it to me. So anyone could say, I want to lose 20 pounds, but in 2 weeks, I don't know. So you have to adjust. So maybe in 2 months, start there. And there's no shame in adjusting a goal. And if you get there, if you're at 2 months and you're like, I've only lost 12 pounds, there's no shame in that either. You still lost 12 pounds, and now you just readjust your goal.
Reevaluate.
Yeah.
And so, Crystal, I see your why is to reverse your current pre-diabetes. So when
A very good goal.
Yes, it is a very good goal. So what do you know? What causes your diabetes? What's causing you to be in pre-diabetes? So like I am reading, I'm not reading, I'm listening to Why We Get Sick. And I don't know if you've heard of that book, but I strongly recommend anybody that's got diabetes or pre-diabetes really needs to be looking into that book, because it has some really good information. And as a nurse, I will say, I was like, oh my goodness, like, okay, now I'm seeing the connection. It's a really good book. I recommend it, or listen to it on Audible.
Dr. Ben Bickman.
Yes. And it is really good because he talks about pre-diabetes, or he talks about diabetics and why certain organs, like it's almost like you've got diabetes here, and then all of a sudden, this is why your liver's not functioning. This is why your kidneys are doing this. This is why your gallbladder's doing this. This is why your thyroid's doing this. And it has been an eye-opener for me. I did not realize. I wish, I really, really wish that some of the books that we're reading, between Kicking Ass After 50, Lies That My Doctor Told Me, all these different books that I really wish they would put towards education for nurses who are going through nursing school, because there is so much to learn. And I will say, I'm a specialty nurse, so I have different kinds of specialty, but now I'm starting to see a connection through all the specialty clinics that I've worked: neurology, endocrine, gastro, I said neurology.
Peds.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is so much. And Crystal, I'm glad you are working on it. So let me ask you this. When you say to reverse your current diabetes, so that's your goal. So what are some of the things that you're doing to, like, measure it? How are you measuring it? How are you achieving that? So what are some of the things that you're doing to get to that?
Yeah, the goal is reverse my pre-diabetic. You were diabetic for 25 years. Now you're pre-diabetic. So, huzzah. How are you measuring? And you said A1C of 5.9.
That's great.
It's,
What's the highest it's ever been for you, if you don't
mhm.
mind sharing? And if you don't want to, that's fine too. I know right now at work, they're saying between 4 and 6 is okay. But we've got some doctors that are like, as long as it's under 7.5 or under 7, it depends on the doctor. Because I am seeing a rise in diabetes, and I'm seeing how much it's going up. And so,
and that's the American Diabetes Association. Their guidelines. Oh, if you can keep it controlled, through medication or lifestyle, if you can keep it controlled at 7 or below, you're fine. You are not fine. That's why look up the American Diabetes Society, and it's gonna turn some heads. But yeah, and I know another great book that we love is Brain Energy, Dr. Chris Palmer, and he talks about a similar concept, common pathway. So a common pathway is, this might not directly affect this, but it can affect this, which affects this and this and this and this and this and this. So what's the common pathway, apparent in this? We're not doctors, we're not giving medical advice, but what's the common pathway as it would seem to us is blood sugar, is diabetes. So yeah, so by tracking that's one way that you can track your diabetes, and you can track an A1C, glycated albumin, and these are markers that you can even throw in a few things in there like CRP. Check your inflammation, and C-peptide for your insulin resistance, because that affects diabetes. Yeah, the ADA suck.
That's awesome, Crystal. 11.8 to 5.9. Oh my goodness. I am so proud of you.
Yes.
That is wonderful, wonderful,
whoop, whoop.
Wonderful.
Now here's it is upside down. South Park predicted that a few years ago. Now here's the question. You went from 11.8 to 5.9. What was the time frame? Because that's in a SMART goal, we're looking at time bound. So how long did it take doing mostly a carnivore diet? That's a good question, because that helps you see what historically has happened, and then you can from there extrapolate. It's a big word for a Saturday morning. Extrapolate, how can my future goals work? Okay, so if it took this long to go this far, and I want to go this far, how long can I reasonably start? Glucose meter. Okay,
that's good. Are you guys like, I know when are they doing the CGMs? When is it going to be available?
I've heard summer, so that could be June, July, August. I'm not sure. Where you can get a Dexcom, was it 7 or 4? You can get a CGM out of pocket. It's still going to cost you a chunk of change, but you can get it without a prescription.
Morning.
Hey, Sherry.
So, with that being said, I noticed some of the A1C levels, they're starting to go up with certain ages too. And I was just trying to remember, I can't remember this much this morning, but I will say that A1C, if it's the newest
Dexcom 7.
Okay, yeah. And so there's certain ranges. Now, like when we talk about A1Cs, I will say some of the factors are wound healing is a big issue. Inflammation is another one. How you did decrease it and what have you. So I'm getting into right now because, like I said, I'm listening to the book Why We Get Sick, and I'm planning on, that's one of my SMART goals, is to have a better definition of how I can be helpful to the patients I work with, to my friends, and to our family members, how I can help them decrease their diabetic goals, because I'm seeing A1Cs they're coming out of the woodworks. Like the
Mhm.
numbers are getting higher and higher and higher. And I don't think it's just carbs that are doing it. I really think that the chemicals that are in our foods, the substitute, like I'm puzzled at this time with
Well,
it.
yeah, I mean, you get a chemical poop storm too. You know, I did an intake with a new client the other day. He his highest A1C was 11, and but the last 2 or so years it's been holding steady at 9. Okay, I guess that's a slightly less bad, but he's also been on Trulicity since 2017. Bye, Susan. Um, he's been on Trulicity since 2017, so that's a GPL1 antagonist. So that's going to slow things down, let your pancreas do its job, and get the insulin out there. But in case your pancreas is being a little bit slow to start, here we're going to give you was it glyburide to help. I looked it up. It's something to help kickstart your pancreas to start releasing some more insulin. And just in case you still need the cavalry to show up, we're also going to give you some Lantus every day. So here's some direct insulin. You don't think that that's going to affect how the rest of your body works, your whole endocrine system, but specifically your insulin and your diabetes? It absolutely plays a factor. This is also why being your own advocate, and even if that includes a health coach to help, beyond the 8 minutes that you get with your actual provider, and then, God bless our nurses, but they, to a large degree, have to toe the company line. Just ask dietitian Michelle Hearn about that. But so there's only so much patient education that they can do within a particular practice, a healthcare system. So be your own advocate. And if you need help beyond that, find a coach, either in some group coaching or one-on-one coaching. And this is not a commercial for our coaching practice, but we see results when we can we can make SMART goals for our clients. So find someone, some way to get very specific if you want to really dig into this stuff. And I know with our clients, our goal is to equip them enough to where after a 90-day run, or maybe 2 of those, they'll have the tools where they don't need us anymore. Our goal when we bring on someone is to basically work ourselves out of a job, educate ourselves out of a role with them. So chemicals, medications, and he's also on a statin. He's also on 2 or 3 other things.
It is glyburide.
Yeah, glyburide. Yeah, to kickstart the old pancreas. So so that absolutely plays effect. Does that, again, the relevancy tangentially on the peripheral, that can affect things like exercise, energy level, sleep. Then you add on top of that chronic stress. Maybe you got a busy job. Maybe you're
working more than one job.
Yeah.
Family.
Or like I said, you're retired, but you're also a full-time caregiver. That's all a factor, and that's why our kind of mantra, PhD synergy, how it all works together, and that affects your mood, brain fog when it comes to the chemical side, your mood when it comes to energy level, and just clarity of thought. So specific. What are you trying to track? Do you have if we're talking A1C now, do you have an A1C goal that you think would be pretty good? I would think.
Did you see that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So, do you know why they wanted over 7.1 with Atlantis, Sherry? Sherry, right?
Yeah, the carnivore mummy.
Yes.
It's probably the ADA guidelines.
That could be, but because she's taking Lantus, it has to be a specific A1C, because Lantus can drop it, and if it drops it too low, it could be a problem. and cause the side effects.
Insurance.
So just FYI, if he's saying it needs to be at least a 7.1, and it I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm beyond puzzled with this whole how the A1C is, and I'm just
Yeah. Well, she's just said, to label it as type 2 so they can check boxes, so they can get insurance, so they can get paid. Again, at some point, someone, either the healthcare system or the individual, is going to have to say enough's enough. I'll bite the bullet and I'll be self-pay. If
oh yeah, okay. He told her the insurance won't keep paying for her insulin because it has to be a certain one.
and if it's type 2, now I know she has specific instances where she has some type 1 folks in her circle. But if it's type, which is a whole different animal, type 2, yeah, if you can titrate things down, your body makes insulin. As long as your pancreas isn't, DOA, you can make insulin.
Right.
So at some point, as long as it's, again, specific, measured, and monitored, it's achievable, it's relevant, it's time bound, you can work your way down. Again, like with this other client, he's on Trulicity, he's on lisinopril, he was on Lantus, he's on glyburide, he's on a statin, and you start monkeying with his lifestyle now. Those things, this is where you got to pay attention, and I can't be a medical expert on this or give him advice, but I can say we need to work with your providers so that we can let them know, hey, I'm going to make some lifestyle changes because I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm going to be starting to do this. Define some SMART goals and let them know, hey, here's the plan. I'm not asking your permission. I'm putting you on notice that, hey, here's my plan. So you're aware, because as we start looking at lifestyle changes in diet, in activity and exercise, and in sleep, in stress management, in mindfulness and cognitive awareness, those things are going to start. So the need for the medications will go down, but you don't want to artificially lower them too much to where your sugars bottom out. Mm-hmm. You have other issues. So that's why, you have to be in very good communication, especially when medications are involved.
Yeah. And you know what? There's honestly, Crystal, I'm not even sure why I'm seeing all kinds of different things when it's coming to long acting insulin, oral medications, short acting insulin. I'm seeing there's no rhyme and reason. I haven't seen any rhyme and reason right now. And I think that's why I'm so puzzled when it comes to that. So
I think it's, and I'm not trying to bash or pick a fight, but I think it's the healthcare system and the insurance and that shell game that they're always playing. Follow the P, follow the little lady, 3-card Monte, and you can never win at those, or your odds of winning that are astronomically against you.
Right. And because I'm reading or listening to Why We Get Sick.
You can say reading, we understand.
Anyway, so because I am actually listening to the book, I am terrified that our generation and the older generation, yes, but like our generation and the younger, I am terrified that everybody on this earth is going to be on some kind of medication. And then once everybody's on medication, then what? That means we're going to have a shortage somewhere. And then somebody's going to go without medication. And then they're screwed.
They
terrifies
gotcha
me
at that point, because they've created that dependency.
Yep. And it scares me because most of us, because we're working nonstop, some of us who are working more than one job, some of us have home lives, and we can't even focus on our SMART goals, what we want to benefit us, because we're having to take care of everything else. That's scary.
And let's take a pause here. Setting time aside for yourself. Self-care is a thing, but it has become so woo-woo, so hoity-toity that people don't, they think it's weird. It's like therapy was 20 years ago. Oh, you're seeing a therapist. What's wrong with you? No, everybody needs somebody to talk to. And sometimes you need, not because you need, the licensure, but sometimes you need just that little bit of distance. I know you, but we're not buddy. I've not known you for 50 years. I don't know all your intimate little secrets, but there's some distance to where you can be objective, and they can be objective, and you can hear what they're saying because they don't have a horse in that race. And that's what self-care has become, a buzzword. It's, like I said, it's woo-woo. It's, oh, you're one of those, flower power, whatever. But it's a thing, and it is absolutely necessary. And see, this is on YouTube, not in any particular other forum necessarily, so I can say what I want. It's my channel. It's also biblical. That you read it. It says many places you can't pour out of an empty vessel. You have to sow into yourself so that you can be that conduit, of the word, of the information, of whatever. You have to sow into yourself in order to give back out. I mean, I love the analogy. I use it all the time. Oh, you're in an airplane. The cabin depressurizes and the oxygen masks come down. And they always say, and when I was little, it bugged me. I felt left out. But they always say, grab the mask, give it to yourself first, and then give it to your child. Why is that?
Because if you don't take care of you first, you can't take care of somebody else.
Right. What good is it if I'm unconscious, but my 10-year-old is over there, with the mask on, saying, what do I do? I'm not able to help anybody. I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And mom and dad are over there unconscious. So get the oxygen, get the sustenance, get yourself filled back up. Or like we hear, Dr. Barry and others say, fix yourself so then you can help other people. And it's the same thing with self-care. Make sure you get what you need with your own goals to help fix yourself, so then you can be a lower stress level. You can be, more cognitive, more aware, more present. You can have more energy. You can be healthy, not be on medication. So it all works together, and it works together to lower the bad markers. But then, as the cliche goes, a rising tide raises all ships. And that's why when you have SMART goals in multiple areas of your own life, I'm going to have a fitness and activity goal. I'm going to have a sleep goal. I'm going to have a diet goal. I might have a fasting goal. I might have, an education and learning and, feeding the old coconut goal. I want to read, 2 books this month or whatever. I want to take an extra course or whatever. You have multiple goals in your own life. It sets the habit, which read The Slight Edge, read Tiny Habits, read Start With Why. Once you get those in place, you've got that habit now of feeding yourself, and the actual, not just the habit, the actual feeding of yourself. So then you're in a good place. Not perfect, If you hit every goal you make, you'll be the only person in history, save one, that ever hit all of your goals. And that's okay, and be okay with that. The date comes and I'm not quite there yet. Well, I'll just readjust. I need another week, or you know what? I really missed the boat. I really wasn't on top of it this whole time. I'm just going to hit the reset button. And from today, 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, I've reset that goal. I'm re-engaged.
Reevaluate your goals. If you haven't met your goal at the time that you need to, it doesn't mean a failure. It just means reevaluate and see what you need to do differently. Right. Okay, so this is what I did.
And that's the M. That's the measurable part. It's not just when you set the goal, it's tracking all along the way.
Yeah. And sleep goal is a good thing. I've done that this year. I've done a couple different SMART goals. One of them is making sure I'm reading at least one book or listening to one book a month, and trying to find something that will educate me, push me further to have better understanding of whatever. Like right now, it's why we get sick. Um, and last month it was Mindy Pell's Fasting Like a Girl. So I'm having, because I am not a huge reader, but I can listen to stuff as I'm going to work and what have you. But having a sleep goal, that was one of them for me. I took all of my electronics out of our bedroom by, what was it, 8 or 9, and no electronics in our bedroom so it doesn't disrupt my sleep. And I have been sleeping better.
Yeah.
So, but of course, I'm going through menopause, so that doesn't really help either.
But what it does is it you got, hormonal confusion. Let's eliminate one of the stimuli.
Yep. Yep. And the intermittent fasting has helped.
And it's actually two stimuli, because it's the device itself and the, electromagnetic energy. You're removing that from being this close to your head. So you've done that, but you've also removed the stress or the distraction of, it's actually 3. You're doom scrolling or watching cat videos. You're not doing that. You are turning off the blue light, which is affecting, your eyes are just an extension of your brain, your nervous system. That's affecting you. That's going to affect your sleep and your circadian rhythm. So you've removed 3 of those so you can actually focus on getting sleep. What do you know? It's like they're all synergistic.
Yeah, synergistic. That's good. That's good. Now, I will tell you that doing the 36-hour fast and the 46-hour fast, my goal was to do 48. But the 46-hour fast, I noticed there's been some hormone regulation changing. I am not going through hot flashes like I was. And she said chicken titties.
If our HOA allowed us to have chicken and other little livestock, we actually 100% would.
Oh, we so would.
But
we so would.
We're out. So now we're just, we just do what we can. I mean, we got local people that we can get from, and we have a local butcher. And then, a couple of weeks ago, we found out that there's a grass-fed, grass-finished, panda-massaged rancher like 4 miles from our house. And my God, that was the best steak I've ever had.
So
now it was like, $32 an ounce or something. It was like, liquid gold, but oh my God, it was so worth it. So
it was really good.
A trio.
We got short ribs too.
We got short ribs. We got ground beef. Oh my goodness. My gird.
Yeah. It's very.
Now that's a treat because it is more expensive, but we've seen a lot of posts here lately that, how do I do keto and all the subsets? How can I do that on a budget? And look up Laura Spath. There's all kinds of recipes and things you can do. And I've always said, a chuck roast, that's kind of the soccer mom of beef cuts, because you can do so much with it. You can make steaks. You can do all kinds of things.
Well, when we just went on vacation, we wanted to have steaks, and so
because who doesn't want to have a steak,
right? So what was it? We had a chuck steak. What was it? Chuck steak?
Chuck eye.
Chuck eye steak. Our daughter wanted for her 19th birthday. She wanted a steak, so our grocery store Publix had chuck eye steaks, and it was a really good price. I was really happy with the price, and the cut was beautiful. Yes, it was thick, and so when we had it, it was great. And then when we went on vacation, our whole family, my mom, my dad, my son, my beautiful daughter-in-law, my grandson, my other 3 daughters, and then Neil and I. So that's like
the whole family.
Yeah. So there was 9 of us. 9 of us? Is that right?
9 and an 8th.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We had 10
and Jordan.
10 and a half. We had 10 and a half people. And so I went back to the grocery store, and the meat guy was like, "Oh no, ma'am, I can't cut that up." I'm like, "Seriously? Seriously?"
Now, it was a holiday weekend. They were busy.
No, he wasn't, but okay. So we ended up buying, I said, "You know what? I'm just going to buy these chuck roasts." And we bought the chuck roast, and it turned out perfect. We just cut it up, and my dad and my husband grilled it. My son grilled it, and
He
we had the,
watched. Me and your dad actually cooked it, but anyway, and he ate it.
yeah, I mean, it was perfect. And we actually paid, I think it was $90 for 2 ribeyes and 2 huge chuck roasts. Everybody had steak.
And believe it or not, we actually had leftovers. Now,
Yeah.
not for long, but
No.
there were, we were all like, "Oh my god!" But then the next meal, it was gone.
Yeah.
We had, there many steak omelets were consumed after that.
Right. No, he wouldn't cut it, Crystal. I was like, my mom looked at me. She thought, she was like, "Oh my God, my daughter's going to run her mouth." Oh my goodness. I could just see my mom's expression. Like, she didn't know if I was going to be like, "I'm sorry, you can't do what?" But I just said, "You know what? That's okay. We got it." I know my dad, and I know my husband, and I know my son, that if I wanted it cut in a certain way, they would do it.
Yeah. And we didn't even cut it into like steaks. We just cut it into big sections, and then we grilled those, and then we cut it up. It was almost like, steak meets a prime rib presentation, but it was delish.
So,
And yes, carnivore mommy, she knows how to make a penny bleed. So yeah, she's got some recipes. She's got some really good ideas for both large groups as well as just in general on a budget. So yeah, definitely check that stuff out. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, there's the confusion. Excuse me. It's like, excuse me, and then there's, excuse me. I think it would be the latter.
wow. And I wasn't going to call the scene in this grocery store because
this time
my mom, she.
It's kind of like when someone gets sick and they throw up. It's like, well, if you get upset and make a scene, then this one's going to make a scene, then she's going to make a scene, then this one, and then we just got a gaggle of Karens making a big scene, and then we have to find all the bail money.
Yeah, I don't really want to be the Karen on video.
Yeah, let's not do that. Yeah, the security footage shows who started it. But anyway, hopefully this helps. A SMART goal could be budgeting.
Mm-hmm.
It could be. See, that's the one thing people want to say. I need a meal plan. Well, maybe you do. You need to know what to eat, and then you need a time restricted schedule. If you're doing intermittent fasting, you need a schedule, a goal of when, what to eat, when to eat. But even before that, let's back up a little bit, slow your roll. You have to know what to buy. How can you know? How can I know how to prep my meals for the week or for the next couple of days? But if I haven't been to the store yet, I don't know what I need to buy. You got to have a goal for that. Maybe it's just the simple thing of, they say never walk into a grocery store hungry. That could be your first goal. I'm going to time, bind it by time. The next time I go to the grocery store, I'm not going to go hungry. I'm going to eat something before I go. Then maybe your next little stair step goal is, I'm going to come with a list. Well, in order to do that, you have to make the list before you leave. Take an inventory of what you have, what you need. So then I'm going to, after that, I'm going to go to the grocery store with a list. Then I'm going to stick to just what's on my list. Then
just humor me. Just go with the flow with me.
But and then quantities, but even before that, you need to know, plan your menu. What are you having on what days? So there's a whole lot of you can go too far and micromanage too much.
Right.
But again, this is where know you and how to flex those different goals to be effective. But you have to know what you're trying to accomplish. And sometimes that means I want to set this goal, but before I can set this goal, I've got to get 2 other things squared away first. Like just like if you're trying to, buy a car, buy a home, Well, I got to look at the credit, and then I got to look at this. I got to look who's got the best rates, who's got this. So your goal might be the new home or the new car, but you got a little homework to do with some other mini goals.
Right.
So,
and you know what? I have a list. It's right here.
oh God.
He just doesn't see the list because I have it right here.
Yeah, we had to get 3 things, which, that should take us, all of about 10 minutes from door to door. And then, an hour and a half and $300 later, we did get, the chuck roast and, the pork rinds and the butter. And all this.
So
well, and then it's okay. I'm gonna out you right now.
Okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure we were low on this, and I think we might be out of this. You think? You didn't check, did you? Well, I did the other day.
I did that. Yes, I did that. I'll admit it. I mean, we use it, right?
Or we would use we'll use this, won't we?
Whatever. Whatever.
Yeah, IKEA. You could absolutely do that at an IKEA.
It's been a while since I've been at IKEA. I really want to go back.
Moving right along. Set a SMART goal for that.
Yeah, that's my SMART goal.
Yeah, okay.
Going to IKEA. Yeah. But no, I mean, we've got...
There's a SMART goal, and then there's a smart ass goal. So
smart assy.
You pick.
Smart assy goal.
Anywho. So let's just land the plane here. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And these are things, we're talking specifically with a PhD, which is your diet, what you put in the pie hole. We're talking about activity and exercise. We're talking about sleep. And in the exercise realm, there's sleep, there's also rest days. Understand what those are and set goals for that. Otherwise you could run the risk of getting into some chronic cardio or overtraining, which raises cortisol, raises adrenaline, which will slow down if you have a fat loss goal. Things all work together. And just your mindfulness, awareness, and your behavior. If you want to form new habits, guess what? Those are new habits in general and specific to all these other things. That's a SMART goal in and of itself.
Now, but and not to interrupt, but yes, meat hole is better than pie hole. But now, I will say part of my problem and I'm learning to divide and conquer. I have many goals that I want to do. Like, since I've hit menopause, I've noticed I've had some weight gain, and I'm like, okay, I want to lose weight, but I really want to make sure that all my levels are staying within range, because it's been so difficult since I had the bariatric surgery 5 years ago that my labs have been out of whack, but my labs have been out of whack for a long time. So I'm just trying to get back into getting into a normal level of where I should be. And then in that process, I'm hoping my weight loss will come off. So that's like my weight loss, getting my menopause in control, reading books, self-care. I have so many SMART goals right now, and I'm trying to divide and conquer and try to focus on one thing, because otherwise my mind will go 50,000 different directions, and then I just end up not being successful with my SMART goal.
Right. And the other extreme of that, which I think I'm on the other extreme, is having many goals. And here my challenge has been, I've got to get all of these goals all at once. Yep. And I got to get them completely. Where the challenge for me has been, I can do all kinds of things. I can do many things simultaneously, not at once, but a little bit here, a little bit. So it doesn't have to be, I got to devote 5 hours for this today and 2 hours for this today. And I got to devote 3 hours for this today. 15 minutes, an hour, 20 minutes. How long does it take to, for me, my little daily movement, routine, just to keep things moving, and I mix it up a little bit. 10 minutes. And that includes a 2-minute plank. So, and see, there's another goal. I want to increase my plank time up to 3 minutes in 2 months because it takes a little time.
And it's so funny because we were talking and he's like, keep talking. And all of a sudden I see him, we're sitting on the bed. We're trying to get ready for bed. And he's like getting into a weird position. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm doing my plank. I said, on the bed? He's like, yeah, I need to do my
So here I am doing this. He's like, you're moving, you're rocking the bed. I was like, fine, I'll get on the floor.
Well, he tried to do it. He was like, oh my goodness, that was really hard. So he got back on the floor to do his plank on the floor. Oh, I can't wait to see your meat flour video.
Ooh.
So that would be really good.
Cool. So yeah, so having, for me, many goals, but don't think you got to have this colossal thing. It's, I'm a musician. Can you tell? I do that too. And anyone says you don't have to practice for 8 hours a day, but if you for 2 days a week, but if you practice 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of specific things every day, that's 15 to 20 minutes a day, little bits. So you're not going to master anything in one session, but over time, and this is where read the slight edge. Good decisions compounded over time will lead to not only good results, but it'll also accelerate the curve. But the slight edge also works the other way. Bad decisions compounded over time lead to bad results. And here's the kicker. The slight edge is working for you all the time, regardless. You get to decide if it's working for you or against you. So,
and don't forget, when you do your SMART goals, don't forget to write it down. And then that way you can keep track of it. Or for me, I have to write it down because if I can write it, it's a memory thing for me. And then I can see it, it's a memory thing for me. That really helps. For him, he just...
No, I do write it down.
Oh, I thought you put it in your phone.
I write it down. I put it in my phone. But Habakkuk 2 says, write down the vision, make it plain upon tablets, so that whoever sees it, you, me, whoever, post it on the refrigerator, whoever sees it may run with it.
Yep, we do have a board upstairs,
and that's how you get support.
Yep,
is even in your own home, post your goal, or if you want to put it on your social media, hey, here's my goal. Depends on you, but when you post it, whoever reads it can come alongside you and help you run with it and support you in it. So share your goals with those that are close to you, because that's where your support starts. And the other thing, the technical side is, the rods and cones in your eyes. I would have to dig up the studies again. I saw, it's been years since I actually looked at it, but they say the optimum way to really put something into your memory is, when you see it here, write it down on a yellow pad with a blue pen. What's all that? It's the rods and cones and how your brain reacts to that yellow background and the blue ink, the color blue on it. So then the act of writing, the background color, and then the ink color all go to help you. Basically, you're reprocessing that thought 4, 5, 6 times. The same way with our words. Read what to say when you talk to yourself. You have a thought, you process it, you physically put it over your vocal cords and out, then it comes back into your ear, you reprocess it again, and it goes into your brain.
Yep.
So,
and saying it too. That's
right.
Another memory process.
So anyway, we're over time, but SMART goals, set them. And if you have questions, obviously, reach out, but you can have many goals, and what do they say? Light hands make for easy work, or many hands lead to light work. That's it.
There you go. So, Sherry, she's asking where can she find the recipe for the chicken flour. So, but you guys have a great day. It was good to see y'all, talk to y'all, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right.